we're going to make this cake extra special, and this is an optional step, by sugaring some cranberries, which is really, really easy to do, and you can do so many different things with them. So I'm just going to first start with equal parts of water and sugar, and that's how you make a simple syrup. And this is going to kind of be the sticky solution that's going to get the sugar to stick to the cranberries and look like snow and sparkly. So I just want to let this hang out, and we're going to get back to it in a little bit. I just want to get that sugar nice and dissolved into the water. This doesn't have anything to do with the cake recipe. It's just a fun little way to dress up this cake and other holiday desserts, so is sugaring fruit. You can do this same method with grapes, all sorts of different things. So, all right, and remind me not to forget about this. My Death by Chocolate cake. This is one of my all-time favorite recipes. I do this recipe several different times a year and dress it up. You know, in the summer I'll fill the center with fresh raspberries and strawberries and blackberries. During the holiday time, I like to fill it with, like I say, sugared cranberries. So it's just wonderful. It's really pretty. It's a real wow factor. You can make it ahead. And who doesn't like a rich, fudgy chocolate dessert? And what makes it so simple is it starts with a box of chocolate devil's food cake mix. So 1 box of chocolate cake mix. You do not want to follow the recipe on the back of the box. You want to follow my recipe. And my recipe is going to take this box cake mix and make it taste like it was completely from scratch. No one will ever knew you started with the box cake mix, which is why I happen to love my box cake mixes. I'm all about jazzing them up, especially during the busy holiday season. So to my box of dry cake mix, we're going to add 1 box of instant dry chocolate pudding mix. You want to make sure it's instant. That's huge. And as I said, we're not going to follow the recipe on the back of the box. We're going to follow my recipe. So we're going to do 4 eggs. Tomorrow at this time, the better half is on, and I am making some holiday hors d'oeuvres, the best ever beer boiled shrimp that is amazing with my seriously good homemade cocktail sauce and some delicious quick and easy artichoke bites. So hopefully you'll watch the better half tomorrow at this time. We have some fun treats planned for you. Okay, so then I've got my 4 eggs. I've got 1 cup of sour cream, and you don't want to use the light or the non-fat when you're baking. So I'm sticking with the real sour cream. Oil and water. And you can get the full recipe on our website. You can also get this full recipe now at any area Kopp's food stores. They are going to be carrying a lot of my recipes, so you can just stop on into any area Kopp's, head to the service desk and ask for my recipes, and they should have them for you right there. I also hope to see you at many of my holiday book signings. I've got quite a few scheduled, so I'd be happy to sign a cookbook for you. You can track me down. I love hearing about your holiday recipes too. So I'm just using a mixer. You can see how dense and thick this batter is. And that's what makes it so fudgy and wonderful. Okay, so I just want to check on my simple syrup here. So that sugar is getting nice and dissolved. And so if any recipe calls for a simple syrup, that's all it is basically equal parts water and sugar. And a lot of cocktails call for it. There's just a lot of recipes that call for a simple syrup, and it sounds like this is a fancy thing, but it really isn't. It's just equal parts of water and sugar that you boil so that that sugar really dissolves in there. And then you can keep this liquid if you want it for a holiday cocktail or something, if a recipe calls for that, in your refrigerator, you know, in a covered container or in a, you know, a jar with a screw-on lid. It's not going to go bad on you. So, okay, I'm going to pull that aside, and I'm going to take my cranberries. Got these gorgeous Wisconsin cranberries, and I'm going to plop them into our simple syrup just for a minute or so that'll soften them up, and I just want them to sit in that liquid just for a minute, so that we're going to roll them in sugar and it'll stick to them. It'll be really pretty. Okay, so at this point our batter is nice and thick, and Ann is waiting in the wings to lick the beaters. Oh, I so know you are. I just know you are. Don't try and deny it, Ann. I know you. There you go. So a little early Christmas present for you. And now at this point we're going to take chocolate chips. I use the semi-sweet chocolate chips and fold those into our batter. Told you this was fudgy and rich. So I love to do this in a bundt pan because I think you get a real wow factor, and bunts are really making a comeback. Like I say, no frosting necessary for this pan, but you really need to butter it well. In this case, I'm using baking spray, which is really nice for the holidays. It's already like a floured nonstick coating that you don't want this fudgy dense cake stuck in the pan. That would be no good. Okay, so see how thick this is? It's nummy, nummy, nummy. And it looks really pretty sitting out, kind of telling everybody, save room for dessert. Really gets that wow factor, and I love the wow factor all year round, but especially at the holidays. All new shows planned for you next week. We're going to keep this holiday party going. We're doing a holiday brunch, more holiday baking, the perfect prime rib roast, beef tenderloin, more hors d'oeuvres, lots of great holiday recipes. Thank you, Ann. Okay, so at this point this goes into the oven. 325, 350 takes a while. This is a really dense cake, so we're talking anywhere from 40 to 50 minutes. Use the old toothpick test, and that's really the best way to tell if it's done. Okay, just I'm checking on my cranberries. So at this point, I'm going to get them, using a slotted spoon, out of the liquid, and I'm just going to roll them in sugar, and we'll coat them so that they look like snow. And then we have a rack. Ann, where is that rack? I'm going to have you dig around and look for it, will you? Oh, it's in this one? This is not necessary, but man, does it work great. For drying cookies and things like that. So basically, this rack, you coat the cranberries in the sugar, and then they'll dry on this rack. And I'll show you how this whole thing comes together. But first I want to show you the cake after it's baked. See how pretty these look? And then they sit on this rack for maybe half hour to an hour, and they dry. And they really look beautiful. And as I said, the same method can be used for grapes and different fruits that you want to make it look snow-covered and fancy to top desserts or even for centerpieces and things like that. Okay, chocolate cake. Here we are. Here's my Death by Chocolate cake. We've baked it. Got a pretty platter to put it on. Fingers crossed that it's going to plop right out. And it does. Woohoo! How pretty is that? Now we're going to dust it with some powdered sugar, which is optional. And then I'm going to fill the center once these cranberries dry. You can take a glass dish that fits, that's a little bit big, just to fill some of the center. Take that glass dish, put it down there, and then we're going to take some of our sugared cranberries after they dry and fill the center and garnish with some fresh mint. It's going to look spectacular. So stick around. We'll finish up my Death by Chocolate cake and make it look gorgeous for your holiday table coming up. Also coming up, some great holiday gift ideas. We're talking the gift of wine for the holidays. You can't go wrong with that. Hot buttered rum drinks and my shrimp scampi cocktail, or I should say appetizer, plus beef jerky too. What guy wouldn't like that? So stick with us. We'll be back.